Oh, yeah. Yo, welcome back to the Let It Off podcast. I'm Alex King, and I'm here with music insider, producer, and contributor of culture, Templeton Wright. And always the amazing host of the television show, Kicking It with Simone, journalist, creative guru, Simone Dixon, where we talk about hip-hop, culture, hot topics, and things affecting you and your community to help you get through your week and let off all the bullshit. Mm-hmm. And you know, man, there's a lot of bullshit to let off this week, man. Here on episode 7, man. Let's give it can we get a hand clap?
Episode 7!
Yo, it don't feel like that. It feel like episode 3 or some shit. This shit going by like a month.
Lucky number 7.
Yeah.
I love it.
But we're going to be talking about a lot of things this week that affecting our community. We're going to be talking about why nepotism and privilege is okay when you're white. Mm-hmm. When you're black, it's all about hustle and hard work. And we got to stop trying to fit into places that won't let us. Like, people's self-esteem is really fucked up by their work. I can't get to this position, but Sandra just got it. Fuck Sandra.
Right. She ain't you.
Sandra don't got no rhythm. No, I'm playing with you. But we're going to be bringing that up, and that's all inspired by this college scandal that just came to the world. Basically, you know, the scandal was putting light that a lot of college kids that's gotten their PhDs and degrees and scholarships wasn't even going to class, and their parents is paying upwards to $500,000. We're going to be talking about Hey, I ain't going to lie. Mom, I need you to buy me a class because I got ideas. You know what I mean? But, you know, we also got some of them things that you're going to be bopping your motherfucking head to this week. We got Templeton with his most listen-worthy tracks of the week.
Yes,
That's going to be keeping you popping in your headphones this week.
Yes.
And, you know, it's always that time. First, let's go over to Simone, who's ready to let off the hot topics of this week. What's going on, Simone?
All right, let's get into it. So, as y'all know, Instagram and Facebook went down. Mm-hmm. So, in the news that literally broke the internet, Instagram and Facebook, literally broke the internet. Instagram and Facebook were experiencing server issues last week that lasted more than 12 hours, which is about 2 to 6 years in social media hours.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, leaving millions of people without access to their DMs. I know a lot of these scamming chicks couldn't get that MTCN number.
Facts.
So their pieces wasn't hitting.
Nope.
And it's just like, for me, I know I'm consumed a lot by social media. Mm-hmm. But I felt like, not that I was like, couldn't survive, but I felt like a little out of place.
It was a warm day that day.
It
was crazy. And you actually went outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think Just Hilarious brought this up too. She made a joke saying that because social media went down, her son found out her middle name was Robin. Mm-hmm. So just goes to show you how after this breakdown that people actually like found themselves and were able to be cohesive with that.
That's sad that like a whole like social media platform has to go down in order for people to like really discover things. Like I saw a post talking about like I just discovered my husband's eyes were brown because Instagram went down. I know it's all like we're all joking and stuff,
but it's real.
But it's like for real. Like we are consumed by social media and like we have it in our faces all the time. So for it to actually go down, it's just like, oh wow. Well, what's going on outside of this whole thing in front of my face? Like, what's going on next to me? What's going on outside? What's going on with my neighbors? Let's actually have conversations now. So I feel like some people might have benefited from the break. Some people were on the other side where they were just like, yo, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Gary Vee brought up this conversation months ago. And he was like, if social media was to go down today, a platform was to go down today, just as all empires rise, they must once go down. Because, you know, Bebo went down. MySpace went down.
Black Planet went down.
Do they still?
Black Planet?
Yeah.
Black Planet,
What is that?
Hey,
what?
Nah, we know that.
What?
Is it like Backpage?
You really don't know what Black Planet is?
No.
I really don't know.
Simone,
We never had beepers
either. Damn.
Was that like MySpace or something?
No, Black Planet, it was like MySpace, but it was for black people, but it was like catered more towards dating.
Oh, like Black People Meet, but years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like
what's the other one? That fuck it. I don't care. Look, but it brought up an amazing thing that Gary Vee had brought up a couple months ago. If Instagram, if Facebook was to go down today, just like so many others, Tumblr, Bebo, MySpace, and many other things that we used to use, was to go down today, would your business, would your network, and would your social interaction still be the same? Would those 27,000 followers that support Tummy Tea for you,
I'm weak.
would you still, if Instagram was to go down today, would you still be considered a model?
Okay, get into that.
Yes, we're gonna take that shit.
If Instagram was to go down today, would you be a wholesale luxury seller? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, fact. Yo, I'm such a huge advocate of building your brand outside of social media.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you need something to show. Like if your whole business is structured around social media, when it disappears, like there's nothing there. And people aren't really doing their due diligence in like doing things like having an LLC, like having an online store, having a website, email list, like having your stuff on other streaming platforms like Vimeo or YouTube or anything like that. So it's like at the end of the day, like when Instagram disappears, you have to understand that it's just a vessel. It's just a way to give people content.
I look at Instagram almost as like, you ever been to a convention or a conference where you got a table set up and you're selling things and you're out on the floor, everybody's out on the floor and you got people. Instagram is the business cards that you're handling out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Eventually, you run out of business cards.
Yeah.
But you still got your booth there. Do you have a booth for them to still find you and find your products?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that comparison, man.
Do you still have a booth for them to find your products? If you just running it on the business cards, call me up, I can bring it. That's done.
Word.
Where's the booth that you selling your shit?
Exactly.
That's for all my entrepreneurs, all my hustlers. That's for everybody. Make sure that just in case Instagram goes down tomorrow, you got somewhere for us to go and get your tummy tea.
Exactly.
And that you're backed up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But even on a smaller scale, like if you don't have the money to like buy an LLC or like come up with a website, just taking your interactions off of like Instagram and out the DMs, just texting people and emailing people, I think that that's such a crucial thing because I had friends who told me that their phones were completely dead because all of their communication is through Instagram DMs. So it's like, how are you going to talk to these people if Instagram goes down, if Facebook messages go down? So I implore people definitely make sure that if you have a substantial relationship that you built on Instagram, take it out of the DMs, bro, and like put it in a text or put it in an email.
But I hopefully this whole thing woke me motherfuckers up, especially business people. Like, hey, yo, if you got them wigs popping, lace fronts, yo, shout out to all the motherfucking weave pages out there. That's half of my followers. I'm the one that accepts them.
You accept them?
Because they like your photos for 1 week. And then, their pages don't work.
Wow.
But then I need the likes. I need the likes.
You just talk about getting your shit off social media. Now you talk about getting likes now.
Hey,
nigga, you a hypocrite.
If you want to get your likes up, let them weave pages follow you. Are you crazy?
Bro, I'm tired of them shits. Then they have all these weird names, just like HMZ2345 is
Right.
following
HMZ
you.
one, yes.
I'm like, no,
Yo,
I don't
I
care.
cannot.
If you hit them up by tomorrow, you get half off for frontal.
How y'all know more about weave than me?
Trust me,
that's
nobody
a
know
shame.
more about weave than you.
I'm gonna let you have. And he gets a ding. Wow, that's how we doing this week.
Hey.
I was like, that was a good
Hold
one.
on.
That
Episode
was a
7.
good
That's how
one.
we giving it up.
That was a good one. I'm
Copy.
sorry.
All right. All right. Got y'all.
No,
We
right.
love you, Simone. We do.
I love you guys too. All right. So y'all finished letting it off about Instagram and Facebook.
I think so.
I think
You should, Alex, because
I'm
we don't want
good.
you to interrupt the next story.
I'm
Right.
good.
Like he did last week. He said, "Hold up, y'all. I'm sorry. I think I told y'all this,
It was on my heart.
and it went over y'all's head."
Yes. And like I was watching the clips and you could just tell it. He was like, yo, they didn't hear me.
He was quiet.
I gotta make sure they
He's
hear me.
scrolling.
I was Simone week 3. Hold on.
That's not how I talk.
Hold on. We're not gonna move on. No, we're not gonna go over that. This is a black woman issue. I'm like, all right, sis, we got you.
All right.
That's funny.
So we can move on now.
I think
Can
so.
we?
I think so.
Can we?
Can we? All right.
come on.
All right. So Ron Newt dies after evidence of foul play came about in the Michael Jackson documentary. Now, for those of you watching and listening that don't know who Ron Newt is, he was a gangster / pimp, music socialite, and businessman who made millions of dollars and also managed and produced his son's music, who were close family friends of the Jacksons. Sorry. And it said that it could be possible that Fox's Empire TV show is loosely written and produced off his life story. He made claims that he gave Terrence Howard a copy of his memoir, Bigger Than Life, which is a DVD documentary about him, and a registered screenplay called All That Glitters in 2010. Newt said this back in about April of 2015, and he complained that Fox ripped off his life story. Now, the fact that he like mysteriously died. And I also read that he was going to come out and say how everyone in the documentary basically lied, and they were paid like big amounts of money from like Oprah and all these networks to lie and say how Michael molested them. And he said he was paid as well. Was he paid as well?
He wasn't paid. But basically he's been alleging these claims since the first time back in 1993. Back in 1993, where his sons were signed, the Neutrons. They were signed to Joe Jackson. And basically, they all had a relationship with Michael. Michael was like a mentor to them. They spent so much time at his crib. And that's the crazy thing. He said in 1993, before there was any, big case or anything like that, he was like, hey, Michael, I'm going to go check this out at this hotel. This guy keeps contacting me like, yo, I need you to come to my house and just talk to me. And this was somebody that was a close friend of Michael. He went to the hotel, and he said, it was a room full of people, and he said, hey, we heard that your sons have been touched, and we got $200,000 right here in this corner if you say the same thing. He was like, but my sons have never been touched. He was like, well, if he's done anything inappropriate, we got $200,000 right here in this corner for you. And he was like, but he hasn't. If we got $200,000 for you to say this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, he speaks a little bit more about that right here in this clip that I'm about to play for you guys. And the crazy thing about it is, like, he brought this up in 1993, and 1993 is the year that the case happened, but this is way before the case happened.
Right.
This is when they were trying to come up with people to say these different things. Like I said, like that same kid that we keep bringing up over and over again, he sued JCPenney's.
Wade or James?
Wade, sued JCPenney's for $1.5 million. No, I think $500,000. His mom said that they were sexually harassed in JCPenney's because he was caught shoplifting, and the security guard apprehended him, and he said that he was sexually assaulted.
Wow. Okay.
Look, I told you, y'all thought I was gonna let it go last week. I was gonna come.
He did his research on Wade.
Let me not. Let me.
Gotta let it off like that.
Hey. Look, so he brought that up last week. We're gonna listen to a little clip with him saying these things. This is back a couple years ago, before this documentary even came out. This is Ron Newt talking about how they were trying to catch Michael.
Michael was being charged with the whole child molestation thing. And you actually got dragged into this.
Yeah, a friend of mine told National Inquiry that he knew some family that knew the Jacksons, and they called me on the phone and asked me to come to the hotel. Now, me being a player from the Himalayas, I said, I'm gonna go and see what they're talking about, so I could take the information back to Mike and Johnny Cochran. So I go down and I say, yeah, what's happening? So they say, yeah, well, I said, what? They said, what I'm here for? I said, I'm here to help Michael. Oh, they said, oh no, that ain't what we want with you. We heard it that your boy spent nights at the house. We want to know if Michael tampered with him. I just picked him up or touched him in any kind of way. If he did, we got $200,000 for you. I said, huh? I had just got out of prison. I said, man, I can't do that. Can't tell no lie like that. I ain't doing that. He said, you show what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw a check up, a contract up, and I'm gonna show you we're finna give you $200,000.
So they want to pay you $200,000 to say that Michael Jackson molested your kids.
Yeah, just touched them or whatever, man. Right. Touched them or anything.
What would you have done if you found out that Michael Jackson molested your kids?
What you think I would have done? I'm a gangster. Come on, man.
I believe him.
Hey, man.
That was February. He was a gangster and a pimp.
That was February 16, 2016. But he made it out of those situations to become a successful businessman in the music industry.
Nice.
So
that's how you got to do.
And you can't say that Empire is not loosely based off it. Like, even if you see how he dressed, don't it look like some shit that Terrence Howard be? Yeah, come on, man.
Even the whole background looks like
Even
Empire.
the way he was talking, I'm like, yeah, like it feels like that's what.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
Told y'all.
That's crazy, man.
Whip that trick, man.
And
200,000 back in the day.
I know that's a lot of money back then.
Yes.
If you wasn't honorable and if you wasn't, you gotta really look that out. That's on DJ Vlad. Like, his story is really crazy. He used to just stand outside their house every day and try to figure out how can I make it in here and become friends with them. Yeah, because his kids were so obsessed with Michael Jackson. Like, he already made it before he came in the music industry. Like,
right.
He lived in the same neighborhood. He was just like, yo, I gotta get cool with them. And that's how the whole thing started off.
Yep.
But the crazy thing about the documentary, he was gonna put out all of these claims. And he had a whole interview set up with Tariq Nasheed, an interview set up with Vlad TV. And 3 days before, he never leaves the Bay. He was going to LA. 3 days before, he was mysteriously found dead. after being contacted with various platforms and saying that he had evidence of friends of Oprah and the documentary filmmaker tried contacting him and making financial offers and false claims. The same week that he was going to put out these accusations, he also said they were offering money and incentives to anyone who ever spent time with Michael and has evidence, man. So DJ Vlad put out a tweet saying, very sad news about Ron Newt dying. 3 days ago, we spoke and scheduled another interview this Saturday. He was going to address Michael Jackson's accusations and the positive experience he had on his children.
Sad case, man. Some sound fishy to me.
Some sound fishy. Some sound like Nemo. What you mean? And we found him. What you mean?
They definitely
That's
did.
like I don't know. I don't even know like what to say. I don't know.
You don't think that... You know what's crazy? I was telling my mom about this story. She was like, yo, don't talk about it. I don't know.
right, because you don't want them coming after you, right?
Hey, you don't think this sounds a little, you know...
I believe him. Like, honestly, like, I've always been a subscriber to conspiracy theories. And this one, it just sounds too accurate, you know? It feels like something that people with power would do because it doesn't benefit them to hear Michael's side. Because they really want to push this narrative that Michael was a bad guy, which is why when they put out the documentary, it was completely one-sided.
Right.
But now when they actually have evidence or a guy who they were trying to bribe to say that Michael did these things, and now he just so happens to die 3 days before he's actually about to talk about Michael and all the experiences that he had, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Absolutely.
You know, somebody else that also came out, you know, recently, just because we're just gonna cover this shit to the best. Look, we gonna give you the news that motherfuckers don't want to give y'all.
Fact.
The thing, like, they gonna tell you, with the media, they gonna show you what's inside the lens. I'm trying to show you what's behind the scenes. We behind the scenes.
Okay.
So, outside of the lens, there's another thing that, for the first time, the media got right. They did an interview on TMZ also, talking about foul play and offering incentives to tell on the King of Pop. He apparently did not want candy or bribery money this week. Pop Child star Aaron Carter came out.
y'all.
Oh, man.
And he spoke about, you know, somebody take over that, Simone.
Basically, Aaron Carter came out saying that Wade and James and anyone else who was involved in the documentary, basically saying how they were lying and they all did it for money. And I think it's dope that he actually broke his silence, because I mean he came out with a couple songs a couple years ago, but the fact that Aaron Carter is coming out speaking about it, I think it's dope, especially when people are trying to tear Michael's name apart.
And this is what Aaron had to say.
Actually indict a perpetrator.
I guess, is it at all possible that what they're saying could have happened?
Not based upon my experience, because me staying with Michael Jackson, I hung out with Michael Jackson. I stayed at his house. I stayed in his bedroom.
How old were you?
I was 15.
Oh, the filmmaker says that they were not paid for Leaving Neverland. They had filed lawsuits.
You don't think for the interviews
Wade had filed a lawsuit.
You don't think that for the interviews that they're doing, they're not getting paid? Because I've been offered 6 figures already for an interview, and I turned them all down. I told them to go fuck themselves. Like.
And the accusation's not mine. Fuck you mean? I probably look crazy at this shit. Really do come out with some evidence.
Right.
But how many people are saying this and not having platforms? Because this shit only got 400,000 views, and this is on major platform, TMZ. Why is this not, you know, when they accused him, why this don't got like 10 million views?
Right, why isn't that bigger than life, you know? Hey. And also, being that all these accusations have come out, Louis Vuitton, there's a new collection of Louis Vuitton and Virgil. They use like a Michael theme that's been dropped from the collection. He was also removed from the Football Hall of Fame, and also
took his statue out.
Yeah, his statue. And Drake also had Drake used to sample Don't Matter to Me, the Michael sample.
Yeah.
He took that song off his new tour. So
Wow.
I'm just shocked.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't know. It's a lot going on. I feel like, I don't know if they're just taking the media side to be perceived as if they support people who have been assaulted. I think it's more of like a support stunt based rather than actually like supporting Michael Jackson. I think they're just doing it to show good face because they're not really too sure. But to be politically correct, they are just canceling him.
Like I said before, man. It's all because he paid $47.5 million to own the Beatles catalog, which they let alone in 2000 something. They offered him $750 million for his whole catalog, which he already owned 50% of Sony. Just the Beatles catalog, like 50% of Sony. Just the Beatles catalog alone is worth $1 billion today. Just their catalog alone.
That's a lot of money right there.
And also, being that like all these accusations have come out, TMZ actually reported that Paris Jackson committed suicide, but she retweeted saying that like
that's not
fuck
true.
TMZ, then it's not true. So it's a lot going on.
You gotta look at shit like that.
Yeah.
When they saying things like that and stories is coming out like that, they're using that to discredit you. They're using that because they're trying to do something to that little girl, bro.
Yeah. And I just think it's sad how like they're bringing his kids into it. Like, why even bring up Paris?
Because they're about to file a lawsuit against the documentary filmmakers.
As they should.
They definitely should. Because they're trying to turn Michael into this like really, really the bad guy. And it's kind of sad because like allegations are all you really need nowadays. Because I feel like what you were saying earlier, Simone, I think that companies are really trying to play it safe because even if they believe that Michael didn't do it and like all the reception has been mixed, to be on the side of a sexual predator or an accused sexual predator, it just doesn't look right. So even if you don't believe in this shit, you're like, let me just take this down just in case this might get crazy. Because now companies are facing a lot of backlash for supporting people who are sexual predators or sexual offenders or abusers or anything like that. So they just want to make sure that their cookies are all in a row whenever people come out and they attack them like, oh, you did this and you did this back in 2019, blah, 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 blah. You're not a real supporter. So they just watching their pockets.
Yeah.
Man, we can't have no figureheads that look like us that are positive. Like, if you up there, they try to remind you, like, even if you in first class, you still a nigga.
Right.
Do you want some fried chicken, sir? Everybody else got filet mignon, but we have fried chicken.
And we have a side of watermelon.
And we have that ace of spades that you guys like.
We mix it with some Kool-Aid for you.
Right.
Look at it. Bill Cosby, OJ, Whitney Houston, America's Daughter. Like, once you reach that certain level of superstardom, there's only a few that reach superstardom to the point where it's like, oh shit, they gotta kind of take you down if you black.
Yeah.
You
Very
can't.
true.
You can't
get too successful.
because then we look at you like, yo, we could do that. We could support each other. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
We have to see if they keep that same energy because supposedly they're making a documentary about Harvey Weinstein. But we'll see.
Is Oprah gonna host that one?
Right.
She better.
That's her. That's her
She
best
needs to.
friend.
She playing, man.
I love you, Ope, but you gotta get your shit together.
Word.
Gail, ring her in.
Your bias is showing.
You know how they was doing Oprah?
Oprah.
Do you got your homework?
Right. Now, I hate to keep bringing up like more sexual assault cases, but this one really resonated with me because I used to watch That's So Raven all the time and Corey in the House. So former That's So Raven co-star Kyle Massey, who played Raven's brother, has been accused of sending sexual suggestive message to a 13-year-old girl. And this 13-year-old girl is remaining anonymous in court documents, but she's suing him for $1.5 million. It said that Massey met the little girl and her mother back in 2009 when she was only 4 years old, and that Massey maintained contact with her and her mother over the years. And the lawsuit also claims that Massey contacted the girl's mother to invite the little girl over to stay with him and his girlfriend in Los Angeles so that he could help her find an agent. And he said the court documents say that after that, the girl alleged that Massey sent her like these explicit text messages, images, and videos of like him jerking off and shit like that.
Okay. Where's the evidence?
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say. I want you guys' thoughts because there is not enough evidence out there. Like, we haven't seen any videos, we haven't seen any text messages, like, to prove that he even did this. And I'm not saying that, like, we don't know what he did, but for you to come out and say that someone
This
sent
could end
text
his career
messages
saying
and
some
videos,
shit like that.
It could, yeah.
And a little girl. So that means that basically, if he knew her since she was, they're saying he knew her since she was 4, that he had like the preconceived notion to, make these actions against her.
Yeah, this is very damaging, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to even say it's a smart play, but like, with that kind of accusation, it's kind of like, shit, we might just have to just settle this out of court. Because like Kyle Massey, he hasn't really been doing a lot.
He can't settle that out of court. And that's the thing with the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Because when you settle shit out of court nowadays, and it sucks because you lose so much money just on lawyers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now you give them almost the benefit of the doubt of, yo, I did it. Because it's looked at, we just settled it out of court.
Exactly.
That's the only
But do you do that, or do you run the risk of like spending all your money that you have on lawyer fees, or do you just want to do a payment just to make sure that it doesn't get too crazy as far, because like this might go up to like, this might be a substantial case.
Yeah.
This right here, the thing is, I don't think why it's a civil suit. They're suing. This is a $1.5 million. They're suing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get money. They're not trying to get justice. So I think with this, and with settlements, they got to start taking methods where, yo, if I do settle, you got to tell the truth that I never did this shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a loss. You paying somebody to tell the truth.
Exactly.
But, you know, they just trying to turn Corey in the house to Corey on house arrest, you know? That's all it is.
But you know, Ted, you did bring up a good point about settling, because even with Michael Jackson, didn't he settle with like some people who accused him? Because it's more work to go to court, to pay for the lawyers.
Exactly.
So you're onto something. That you're absolutely right. It's more work to pay a lawyer, to pay court fees, and to just give them the 1 point whatever they want.
Yeah, and I think people make false claims because they know that most people will probably just settle out of court just to kind of get it out the way. Like, I didn't do it, but like it's going to cost me way more if I go the actual route to kind of clear my name. So it's like, yo, but now we live in an age where it's like an admission of guilt if you just pay outside of court. So it's really hard to say, man. I hope it's not true, because I was a huge fan of That's So Raven and Kyle Massey. Corey in the House, also a really dope show that I watched when I was younger. So as the news develops, we'll definitely keep you guys updated and see what happens.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna move on to another story. This is very sad and it's very upsetting. I'm gonna try and push through this, but the death of Tamela Ford has been swept under the rug by media. Tamela Ford was a black mother. She had 5 kids, and she was killed by 10 people, the majority of them being white. Now, this happened in Forsyth County, Georgia. Tamela was 40 years old. She was from Cumming, Georgia. Basically, authorities found her face down in the yard. Apparently, she was at a football mom sleepover. And this happened on November 4th. We're in March 2019. So this happened November 4th of 2018. And basically, she went to a football mom sleepover with a bunch of other white women, and I think some people were Spanish as well, but the majority of them were white. And for those of you who don't know, Forsyth is it claims to be like very racist. So they're saying that evidence has come out that Forsyth was beaten severely in the head and face. And like I said, her body was discovered in the yard by the homeowner's aunt at around 7:30 a.m. Now, there were also 3 men at the sleepover, and this is where like things get tricky, because one of the homeowner's relatives, I think, is Jose Barrera. He's a former pretrial service officer from Forsyth County, and by coincidence, Barrera's girlfriend is related to the homeowner, so which kind of makes things fishy in the media. But apparently, I read from some articles that he was put on like a leave of absence at his job because he was caught tampering with evidence that had to do with her case. So they put him on leave, and that he was also caught tampering with other evidences from his friends. And basically, the court administration came out with a quote saying that like he didn't commit any crime, and what he did is considered like not illegal. So I just think it's crazy how, like, people have been caught tampering with evidence and, like, nothing has been done.
Yeah, that's true. That's crazy.
Wow. That's a lot, because I didn't read up on the story, but, like, hearing all the information, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
The powers that be, man. Like, you can get away with, legitimately get away with murder.
Yeah.
Like, tampering with evidence, like, trying to bribe witnesses, like, tampering with juries, making phone calls. It's just like, and, like, how is this legal? Like, how is he not doing anything wrong by doing any of this shit?
Not even that. When he made the phone call, she died at 7:56. I think he called at 8:36 a.m. If don't quote me on that, but that's around the same time.
Right.
But when he made the call, the initial call after the death was noticed, they said that that he basically said he was like saying things on the phone that was mad peculiar, like pointing mad things out. Yeah, she's dead here on the floor. I think she fell. There's a lot of bruises here, but her wrist is slit. Yeah, it looked like she cut her own wrist, like saying like weird stuff like that.
Over-explaining.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
yeah.
Nah. There's
It's
something fishy
sad,
going on.
man. I'm going to just keep my eye on this. I hope that their family receives justice, because that's a very sad case. But I do want to point out that she definitely leaves behind her husband, Leander, and 5 sons, Jaden, Peyton, Gavin, Braden, and Mason. They all range from the ages of 4 to 14. And also her stepdaughter, Akishma. I read this all from an article. So just blessings and prayers up to their family. I think it's so sad, especially being that she's a black woman. And, like, nothing's been done about it.
And prayers definitely going out to the family.
Yeah. Very sad.
Yeah. But, you know, we're talking about a lot this week, and we're talking about hard work, no rewards. And, you know, that's a crazy thing because there's a system set up that helps keep them on top, and they won't ever let that go. And we got to stop thinking that they're going to give us a chance. And, you know, we keep listening to our parents, and our parents always told us you got to be twice as good. You always got to outwork this and outwork that. But their struggle of our grandparents and our parents are completely different. You know, at that time, they was going through segregation. They was going through all of these things. Now, there's a place where they think that we're in these places, and it's even like, yo, we already did all the work for y'all. That's not that. You know, just because we got in the building doesn't mean that we're there yet. We're often stuck in positions, you know, where you're the assistant or the secondary, but very rarely the top executives look anything like you. According to Vox.com, man, a major research on segregation in the job market for African Americans have proven that it even gotten worse than in white spaces in 1980. Yeah, let's hear a little bit about that right now.
There are a lot more people of color now than there were in 1980. So what's going on? Well, they aren't being more represented at these white majority companies, which would look like this. Rather, they're getting opportunities at companies that are mostly non-white, over here.
Yo, what that mean is the only way we getting up to these top spots is making Let It Off podcast.
Right.
Making this venue, that venue. Pull your people in. Pull your people in. I think that's so important when y'all get to these places to pull our people in. A lot of motherfuckers, when they get there, they love being the only black person in the room.
Yes.
I was talking to a girl about that on the phone yesterday let me leave her name out. Because I just thought about it like, damn, she worked for a major company. But she was like, yo, I'm trying to build a team with my fellow black people there. There's like 4 of us. And she was like, yo, I came to the conclusion they don't want to be a part of that group.
Yeah.
They want to be the only black person in the room.
They try to disassociate themselves from being black.
That's weird, man.
Hey, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all could talk about that, like being in a spot and everybody else is growing, everybody else is getting a raise that don't look like you.
Right.
You working, you doing all of their work.
You doing
getting
more work than them.
You doing work to the motherfucking bone.
Yeah.
Every day, but yo, why I ain't getting no incentives? Why I can't make it to happy hour? Y'all can make it every day.
Exactly. I gotta stay till it damn near close.
Oh, I gotta leave the studio when celebrities come, even though I work on the show every day. But people that's upstairs don't ever come downstairs. But now, motherfucker, Christina Aguilera's in the building. It's a problem. Fuck you.
Crazy. Yeah.
Fuck you.
I've definitely seen a lot of people in high power positions that don't deserve those high power positions. And I'm like, yo, how did you get here? Like, I've been working in this position for X amount of time, and it seemed like you just kind of came in out of nowhere. And it's just like, wait, what did you get your degree in? Oh, it's in something completely different. So how did you get this job? Oh, my friend said that if they get a raise, then I could take their old position, and now you're stuck training people who have the job that you actually deserve. And that shit just fucking sucks. You just gotta sit there and take it with a smile because you still want that place because you still want that opportunity. But like a lot of times you just get looked over.
And what the fuck they gonna preach to you? Hard work. Yo, you could be yo, them motherfuckers love a Gary V. Love a Gary V speech. You could be right here with hard work and motherfucker, I could be right here with my auntie's cousin's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to admit the fact that like it's harder for black people, especially in a white dominated field, which is pretty much everything. Like even the black companies that you love, that you support, most of them, when you get to the top, the executive level, they're all white.
Yep.
Or they'll try and like pull the wool over your eyes, and they'll promote black people into positions that didn't exist, that sound pretty, like director of urban marketing or urban media, just putting the word urban in front of it. And it's just like, what is the job? It's just a job to make people happy. Like, we have someone in a high power position, but they can't get on the 50th floor.
It's because we're so obsessed with trying to be accepted by them, bro. We're so obsessed. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the things that I heard, and I kind of agree with it.
What is it?
Segregation was one of the worst things that could happen for us.
One of the worst things?
I think there's some truth to that.
Do you want to know why I say that?
Uh-huh.
Because during segregation, yes, we couldn't go into white places. We couldn't even use a bathroom at white spaces. But we had our own. We had our own businesses that were self-flourishing. We had, if y'all ever walk around in New York or in Brooklyn, you ever see these churches and they look like churches, but they movie theaters? I think I talked about this.
Yeah, you brought that up. Yeah,
those was movie theaters. We used to have we couldn't go to movie theaters. We wasn't no AMC. You know, it wasn't no, reclining seats. I love them shits though, but it wasn't none of them reclining seats and none of that. We owned our own doctors, our own lawyers, our own school buses. We had to go to our own shit.
Yep.
Yes, it wasn't as good, but we had our own.
Right.
So that means we could bring in our family members through nepotism.
Yep.
We could invest in our businesses because all we could go to was our businesses.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why we had homes. You'd be like, yo, how could you afford to live in New York back then? We was paying to keep our money within ourselves. We was almost like moving like that.
Brownstones.
Yeah. Segregation was one of the worst things. If you really, that kind of sound.
That's deep.
It sounds crazy.
I'm even thinking like, whoa.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Imagine you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a store owner, you own a restaurant, and only your people could go there, and you're in a black neighborhood.
Exactly.
Plug talk. What?
Like, here's the thing, like that's the way that I feel like a lot of people in other cultures they succeed is because they build value and they build wealth in their own community, and now everybody outside is like, yo, who's the best? And then they start coming to these doctors and they start coming to these lawyers. It's not like the black doctors are trying to work in the places where the white doctors are. They're working in the black community and they're doing such a good job that white people start noticing, and they're just like, yo, let's go over here. That's why you see a lot of people like in the Indian community. They're very well known for being like good doctors because like they stick together, like they bring their family in and they really mean that shit. And I feel like that's kind of been lost in the black community because we're trying to integrate a little bit too much. Like I feel like that whole sense of self has gotten lost. I don't know when and I don't know where, but it's something that we need to get back and realize the value that we have with each other and standing together.
That sense of self, I think, got lost around 1960s when we did start trying to be accepted. Like, we don't think that it's cool enough to just be accepted by us. We gotta, it's like we're obsessed. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of job depression and everything, is due to not being accepted. You know, like, me and her even went through this shit before. Like, I'm like, yo, it's not, a lot of people wouldn't like you and you don't know why. Or, you know, people really be depressed or have no self-worth outside of their job and they don't understand it's not a fair comparison. You can't compare to Sandra, third generation from Staten Island.
Very true.
Her aunt worked at the company the last 2 years and they bring in all her friends and cousins in that have no degrees. You got a degree, you paying $100,000 motherfucking dollars back. And you sitting in there next to Sandra, she keep moving up, getting raises and everything. They not paying you equally.
But does Sandra even have a degree?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you do. Like
you do, and you bring in a motherfucking coffee.
Exactly. I remember, I think Joe Budden was talking about something while he was on Everyday Struggle. It's one of the behind the scenes things. He was talking about the non-threatening black person and how those are the people who tend to make it and move up. And I realized that I kind of suffer from that because even though I'm like 60, I'm a big dude. I'm not threatening to these white people. So like I could walk into a bar, like smile, like make friends and all that stuff. I definitely take advantage of that because at the end of the day, you got to use whatever tools that you have at the end of the day to like move up the ladder. So I'm trying to like mosey on next to them, not because I feel like I need to, but because like I feel like it's like a chess move. At the end of the day, like my motive is to still bring black people along with me while I go out. I'm not gonna sit there and shit on everybody that's trying to work their way up the same way I'm trying to work my way up.
You say
I'm not gonna forget where I came from.
You say you walk in and you just start smiling?
Sometimes,
like,
yeah. I'm cool with it?
No, I can't even lie. I can't even lie. No, Tim. I can't even lie. You brought up a very valid point because I feel like we all work in media right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like at some point we all want to elevate.
Yes.
And the only people, well, I can't say the only people because there are some people of color who are in these positions. But a lot of the times they don't want to hire you, us, because they think we're a threat.
Like, for instance, we started bringing in our own friends at a white space recently, and the team was black. The team started just looking black, like it was straight black people, and it was just starting to like be a different type of energy. Oh, the ice isn't full all enough. Like the ship would be at the top. The ice it was always a problem. We're always sitting around. Oh, if we're not if we're out, why are we being seen? Like, it was like weird things. Like, I'm being seen because I work here.
Exactly.
Why are you being seen? All types of, but it was too many black people, so it started becoming a problem when we started bringing our own people in, and they noticed that. You know, I want to shout out to one of the people at the company who was over hiring. She did start. When I say she got to that place, she started bringing people in. She brought me in. Mm-hmm. She brought a lot of people in. I feel like if she wasn't sitting in that seat, they wouldn't have brought in. Let's be real.
That's crazy, man.
But you know, shout out to Templeton too, man. He brought me into a lot of places. He put me on a lot of jobs that I probably wouldn't be able to get without him. And every job that I get in this freelance is 5 jobs that it could potentially turn into when I tap into somebody else's network.
Exactly.
So I really do appreciate you for bringing me into multiple things. And I throw you things also.
Get the clap. Get the clap for yourself,
you know what I
Tam.
mean?
Clap. Oh, there we go.
So I can definitely attest that his coon smile is working for me.
But it's true. It's so true, though. And I feel like a lot of the times, like, we say, like, oh, we don't need the approval of XYZ, but we kind of need the approval of the white man. Mm-hmm. Because, like, if we're trying to elevate, they are the ones who are in these powerful positions. It's sad that, like you said, we have to put on this smile.
We got to play the spook.
To be perceived as, oh, I'm black, but I'm not the ratchet black. Or, like, you know, it's just sad that you can't be yourself because you're perceived as ratchet or no class. So you kind of need, like, that kind. You need that cosign, sadly.
There is a position for that. I feel like we got to create places where they're not our bread and butter. So we don't have to be fearful of saying this name of this company, this person, this, because right now they're our bread and butter. So we just sitting here but we know what we really want to say.
Yeah.
So right now we playing the spooks by the door. You play the spook by the door. You know about the spook by the door?
Mm-hmm. Heard a little bit about it.
I've heard of it.
Please read that. It's also a movie, but you're going to play a position and learn everything that they know and learn everything that they do to make their company successful. We're going to take all of that shit and do it for ourselves.
Yes, definitely.
Spook by the door, he was basically a gang member in the hood, and then he went into work into either the FBI or the CIA, learned all of their strategies, and left the FBI and came back to the hood and taught the gang members it. So they just they took over the world with that shit.
Yes.
All it takes is structure and learning how they doing it.
Exactly.
And we can do it for ourselves.
Because, like, we're not going to learn because, like, we're not in those rooms. Like, the people who are in these boardrooms, like, they've been there for a decade. Their family has been and they've been there for decades.
Yeah.
So it's just information that they're passing down to their children and their children's children. They don't want to pass the information down to us. So we got to really play the position, stand by the door, pay attention, really hear about, like, the shit that they're really doing, taking that and applying it elsewhere and building your own structure. That's what we need to do.
Speaking of, you know, being in the room and just standing there and basically, you know, your family being there for years and years, bro. This college scandal where, you know, they paying for classes. They paying for motherfucking, you know, Julie to go to fencing class and learn how to make caviar.
Yes.
Fencing class.
Yeah, but, you know, basically a whole bunch of celebrities, over 50 people were caught paying upwards of $500,000 to get their kids to be in these classes, man. Like, these kids got PhDs, these kids got medical degrees. Son, this is crazy. This is crazy.
It's a shame, bro.
Look, this is what I'm trying to tell you about nepotism. It goes to the highest level. You know how much time you was busting your ass in class?
Facts.
They're paying, and you wondering why he's sitting in the back, just cutting ass all day. He already passed.
Exactly.
He don't even show up to class.
He don't have to know
Exactly.
He.
Yeah. You're right.
That's just wild, man.
It just trickles down,
where
you know?
we have to fight so hard to even get an education, get a proper education.
Yeah.
But the point where, like, people were like throwing shit at black people, just trying to learn. Like, we just want to learn about shit, you know? Like, we're here because of you, and now you're giving us freedom, and now we're trying to get the freedom to educate ourselves.
They
and
never
get mad
gave us
about
freedom.
that.
Right.
Well, that's a false sense of freedom.
Right.
But, like, now it's like, when I hear this story, I personally get frustrated because certain things that I went through as far as, like, trying to go to school and, like, trying to, like, please, because, like, my parents didn't really, like, have it like that, so I had to, like, really try really hard to, like, work and, like, get different types of scholarships and really figure out what I really wanted to do. And these kids are just showing up just like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
And now they getting
my mom
degrees
gave you
and
the
walking
check,
out the
right?
door.
Like, yeah.
It's just like, come the fuck on, son.
Yeah. It's frustrating, especially when you're working hard. It's just sad. It's a sad reality.
It shows the disadvantages that students face who don't have money, that don't come from a wealthy influence, that don't have nepotism. That's the only reason why we need to own our own shit. Dame Dash was saying that. So we could have nepotism and bring Raheem in and
Exactly.
and bring Jaquan in and all of the people that they would never even look at their name on a sheet.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's we got to just do it for us.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
if everybody at the top executive is a person that is from from the white society, they can't bring in. They don't got no friends that are black.
Yeah.
So all the people that I bring in is gonna look like you, and that's where nepotism is unfair.
Yeah.
It is.
And that's why we gotta do the same shit back, because we always want to be the fucking good guys. Why?
Right.
Why the fuck we want to be? You want to be the good guys. We always want to be the good guys. We're the most forgiving race, hands down.
I agree.
We're the most.
I 100% agree.
We're the most forgiving race, yo.
We are.
We get shitted on. We get shot in the streets,
most.
yo, and we say, "Oh, we're gonna march peacefully."
Yeah.
Yo, when we gonna fight back? Nah, real talk. Real talk.
It's
We the
so
most.
true.
Yo, I never heard a Jewish person forgive or say, don't bring back the history of Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yo, we let them not tell no history about slavery, no actual history about anything black in our school systems. And we forgave them for slavery. Like, literally, we walk around every day trying to still be accepted by them. The motherfuckers, they still separate themselves being Crown Heights chilling with the
Yep.
minivans cutting you off.
Yep.
Don't give a fuck.
He said cutting you off.
Oh, that's true, man.
It's true. It's sad. It's sad. But like you said, like you both of you said, only way to overcome that is to build our own and to bring our own in. Period.
Yeah, man.
Very true.
But at least, even though it's part of their marketing scheme, because they know to break down a black home,
Right.
the best way to do it is to have dysfunction in the home. And in this, where the bag at, no scrubs. He ain't got it. A nigga can't do shit for me that I can't do for myself. And if he can't, then I don't need him.
Why are you looking at me too?
Yeah, in that generation of, a nigga gotta have way more than I could have. And, basically, according to the most educated Americans, according to the National Center for Educational Studies in 2016, black women, 58% from 2007 to 2018, the number of firms that black women grew by a stunning 164% in the educational market. And it also grew by stunning 164%, 3 times the rate when they're talking about entrepreneurs of black women that own their own businesses. So,
Damn, can we get a ding?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's a hater.
No, I wasn't sure. I know when he's gonna stop the
Yes.
facts.
But 2.4 African American women black-owned businesses in 2018, the most owned by women 35 to 54. Black women are the only racial or ethnic group with more business ownership than their male peers. So
Okay.
Yeah.
it made me think, it came up with this conversation today in this where the bag at, nigga, where the bag at generation. Can you date someone that was making less than you?
We already know Simone's answer. We know your answer.
Ain't no dead space. What's your answer?
Okay, so I'm gonna just put it out there. Okay, for me, I cannot date anyone that's making less than me. I'm not saying that. No, I can't. I just can't. I don't want anybody that is lacking. I'm sorry. I hate to be like that. And I'm not rich, but I'm maintaining myself, and I cannot have anybody that's not doing the same for themselves. Like I said, what episode was that? 4, 5, 6?
I think it was 4.
4. I'm not saying he has to be a millionaire, but equivalent to what I'm making or a little bit more.
Even though it says that it's commissioned that they're bringing you guys into these corporate spaces instead of us, and basically educationally, it's bringing you guys in at a higher rate, way more than black men. You can see this in the college
Who is
classroom every
they?
day. We know who they is. See, that's the thing. Y'all try to play like no. Look. Y'all try to play like everything is fair. Like we don't want to be in these places. Like we
But
don't.
hold up. Let me hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold
Bring
up.
it. Hold up.
No. For a long time, women were not even allowed in the workspace because it was what? Male dominated. So you can't say, oh, because the women are in now, it's not. It's not fair.
The best way to break
No.
down a home is to y'all feel like, because clearly I asked several of my peers, and a lot of people on my Instagram are African American
Okay.
women, And it says here, this was the question, do you treat a man differently by his job title? 80% said no. 20% said yes. Stop lying, sis.
Right.
Stop
You
lying.
know damn well you gonna treat a nigga different if he has a different, whatever his title is.
So then I also asked, ladies, could you date someone who makes less than you? And the response was yes. Yes, why not? To be honest, I'm someone that don't care about how much you make. Once you're happy, you're doing your job right. Yo, y'all gotta stop the capping.
Yeah, once that bill come around and
I'm about to say, love don't pay the bills, honey.
He like, baby, I got it. I got you next time.
Why your sister's friend right now? Because we know how it really is. Not that I'm trying to get them to say something, but we know how it really is.
Yeah.
You know what
I'm telling y'all what it is. I'm telling y'all right now. Like,
I think that women are growing to accept the fact that maybe men aren't going to support them as much as they want. So they're learning to be more independent and they're learning to be more accepting of men who don't have as much money as them or don't have the funds to support the lifestyle that they want. So now it's like, damn, I guess I got to like lower the bar a little bit and be like, well, I guess I can.
Do you think that they can handle that? Or is it constant shit on that man every day? You bum ass nigga, you can't even, you know what I mean?
From my personal experience.
They choose to stay. So you can't complain if a nigga ain't shit if you're choosing to stay.
I'm not even saying that he's not shit. He just makes less than you. So that constantly comes up in conversation.
But why would you stay if he ain't shit XYZ?
I didn't say he was not shit. He just makes less than you. Does that make him not shit? That's the real question.
I think it depends on the woman.
Hold on. Does that make him not shit?
Put you on the spot.
I'm not saying that he's not shit, but I'm speaking on, you just said women be like, oh, fuck out of here, you ain't shit, XYZ. I'm saying if they feel that he's not shit because he doesn't have the coins to be equivalent to her, why is she still there?
That's very true. But, you know, they are fighting. I'm not trying to make this an excuse, but they are fighting an unfair job market. And you know, I also got to combat the lie that my president said in 2007. I still love you, but it was. He said that there was that day more black men in prison than in college, which is not true, and that hasn't been true since 2002. And in 2010. 1,341,354 black men were in college, and 800,000 men were in prison and jail. So we gotta clear that up. That false rhetoric that men, that's not true. We gotta get that shit out of here. They try to paint, they will run with that story if you give them that motherfucking story.
That's very true.
And that was also from the National Prisoner Statistics Program. So all of this can be cited.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like black women who are becoming entrepreneurs. I feel like at least the ones that I see, most black women become entrepreneurs and they build businesses that help and support black women. Like they have like beauty and hair or like all these different products that help and support the black woman. So I think maybe that's why they're becoming a lot more successful, because they are an underrepresented market. And before there were a lot of like black hair products that were owned by white people.
Yeah.
But now I think they see the value in black owned businesses for black customers.
Right.
So I think they just kind of saw like something was missing, and then now they're taking the initiative and they're moving forward and helping out their fellow sisters.
You think men can't work together? And support each other? Be honest.
As far as like to build something to help like the black male community, I don't know. I'm not sure. And that's more scary, the fact that I actually don't know.
Wow. I feel like for men, it's easier for y'all to come together. I feel like women.
You think so?
Women, like, we
don't have no men's conferences like that. We do, but they don't be like y'all women's conferences and women's business. You think that's cap?
But absolutely.
It's cap?
Okay. I can't speak for every conference, but for the majority of them, you got to see how they act behind closed doors. I feel like a lot of the times women, like, we're so like, you don't want to see another woman shine, and there's so much hating and cattiness that I feel like if women were able to fully stick together, we'd be like on top of shit.
So you think is really just like I'm trying to market myself as this like thought leader. I'm using Gary
I'm
V
a
quotes.
Feminist.
Yeah,
absolutely,
wow.
absolutely. I know plenty examples. I can't even say.
I remember I was reading some meme this week and it was like, yo sis, save your $40. You don't have to go hear some girl who has 50,000 followers on Instagram give you life advice and work advice from her using some Gary V quotes.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's a little true.
But yeah, I feel like, and not for all women, but for the majority, and from what I've seen of personal experience, is cap.
All right, well, hopefully something that could, lighten that cap up, man. We got Temp's music.
Hold up.
Oh, here
Hold
we
up.
go
Wait,
again.
hold
on. We're not going to skip over
No,
black
hold up.
women like
I just
that.
want to hold up. I just want to ask y'all a question. Since y'all want to talk about the black woman, let's talk about the black man.
All right.
Would y'all date a girl who makes less than you?
I do every day. Next.
All right, you answered. Temp.
I would.
But y'all steady
But- I
pushing the
would.
narrative. Oh, y'all bum ass females. Y'all always want a nigga to do X, Y, and Z.
We never say that, but there be some bum ass females that want you to do everything for them.
So
I'm
you
not your
would-
dad.
That's true.
Don't get that fucked up.
Okay, that's
There's
you.
some truth, yeah.
True.
I'm not your dad.
Temp, you?
No, I agree. I think that I would date a woman that makes less than me. I'm more concerned about a woman that makes more than me because I feel as if like there's a certain narrative that she feels about me, like, oh well, I don't know what you're gonna do. Well, I don't know. I'm expecting you to do this. It's like I feel like her standards are like a lot higher because I make less. So it's like, do I really want to deal with that?
So y'all want somebody y'all can control?
I've dated.
Not even. I want someone to like not make me feel like I'm lesser than. Because at the end of the day, like we are equal. I don't feel like I should be above you.
Yeah.
You should be above me. Meet me in the middle.
I've dated and date or whatever you want to call it, someone who makes more than me and other people who have made more than me. And I've been in situations where if we do get into an argument, it always plays into
Some money.
Yeah.
Yo, but you couldn't even pay. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not that I couldn't pay it. It's you're way more financially. First off, you got to understand as a guy, our parents don't take care of us as much as they would do for your baby girl, your little baby.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times y'all get it fucked up where your dad is paying for your whole bill, and you could every week go blow a bag on some bottles in the club with your girls, and the fact that he wants to buy drinks at the bar and be able to pay his lights, his cable, his car, make sure y'all can eat for the week.
Yeah.
He's a bum ass nigga because he can't buy bottles in the club. Fuck out of here.
Hold up. That's for like bum bitches who play into that bottle scenario bullshit. But
Yo,
I just wanted y'all's opinion real quick.
Okay.
Yo, if you really want to finesse a girl, buy some bottles in the club one time and just be like, you act like you do it all the time. You leaving with some pussy.
It depends on the kind
You
of woman
leaving with
though.
some pussy.
Because
Nah,
those
you
aren't the
ain't.
girls that I want. I'm looking for the girls that are looking at the girls feeding for the bottles, looking like, what the fuck are
Like,
you doing?
these
I want
dumbass-
you.
You looking for
Yeah.
lesbians?
Not what? What?
You say you looking for the girls that's popping the bottles and the
that's
girls that's looking at them.
No,
Oh my
the girls that are looking at the girls popping bottles, going, what the
Yes.
fuck are they doing?
No,
like they clout chasing, looking at the clout chasers, like,
Yeah,
yo.
all for clout.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want that. Like I don't want that attention.
Yeah.
Like you just here because your friend invited you out,
Right.
And you don't really want to be here. You want to be home, like watching Game of Thrones. Some shit. Like, I'll come home and watch Game of Thrones with you.
Man, I just want to be home listening to this Templeton podcast. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
This guy. All right, y'all. So let's get into the most listen-worthy tracks of this week. If you guys don't know, every week I go through all the brand new music that comes out, and I pick my personal favorites, and I deem those the most listen-worthy tracks of the week. But before I get into those, I want to talk about a few honorable mentions. These are tracks that I liked, but I didn't necessarily love, but I still wanted to give them a little bit of shine. TDE artist Schoolboy Q came out with a song called Num Num Juice. It's been a while since he put out a song or a project. So
It came out already?
not the project, but the song. But I think he's coming out this year because I think he was supposed to come out 2017 or 2018, but like nothing happened. So I think he's gearing up to get his release out this year. Emily Sande came out with a song called Sparrow. Shout out to her. UK R&B and soul artist Cara Marnie. If you don't know her, check her out. She came out with a song called Lose My Love. And another super dope R&B and soul artist. This one's from Richmond, California. Her name is Rihanna J. And Duckworth came out with a song called Love Me Like.
Yes,
so definitely,
I love Duckworth.
Yes, I love him too. Make sure you guys check out those songs. Even though they're not on the list, I still think they are worth a listen. So let's get into the tracks that I feel are the most listen-worthy for this week. Starting with a jam-packed collaborative effort from Beast Coast. So Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies, and the Underachievers have announced their Beast Coast tour.
What?
And they're bringing, yes, Beast Coast tour starts in July. They're bringing along artists like Kirk Knight, Nick Caution, CJ Fly. Those are all pro-era artists. All these artists came together to showcase their lyrical abilities on a song called Left Hand. Each MC had about like 8 bars. There was about like 9 or 10 of them on the track. The beat is like really dope. We had Michi Darko from Flatbush Zombies taking over the hook and the bridge. My personal favorite verses. It's a lot to go through. But Nick Caution, the only white boy spitting, definitely was spitting some shit on there. He came in on the first verse.
What?
Juice from Flatbush Zombies, he came in on the second verse, like really smooth. Like the second half of his verse when he started, that shit was fire. And the last artist on the track was Issa Gold. Definitely ended the record strong. The entire record, I think, is like really dope and listen-worthy. Surprisingly, it's only about like 4 minutes, even with like 9 artists on it. So definitely check out that record.
Okay.
Next, we have Tory Lanez dropping a single called Freaky. Now, this song has a nice little boppy Migos kind of feel to it, but I think that Tory came with this really different melodic approach to the Migos sounding track. So I think it's really, yeah, exactly. You already know the Tory Lanez kind of sound. So I think it's something really different.
Okay.
So make sure you check that out. Coming from the OGs in the game, we had T.I. and Snoop Dogg spitting over a very smooth sample track called Players Ball. So you already know what kind of record that is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very dope, very silky. That's the only word I could use to describe that. It's very, very silky. I feel like I'm like sitting in the back of like a 69 Cutlass with like 10 women around me. I got my pimp cane on.
Did T.I. use any big words?
I think he did. So like somewhere in there. So definitely check out that effort. Next, we have Anderson .Paak coming through in classic Anderson .Paak style with the song King James. Now, in the song, he made a reference to LeBron James, also made references to Colin Kaepernick and his detest for Donald Trump's wall. This one I think I'm definitely going to be adding to my How to Catch a Vibe playlist. It's very vibey. I forgot to mention this last week that Anderson .Paak's actually dropping an album on April 12th.
Nice.
And
I can't watch it. I mean,
why not? You can't listen to it?
Because it's 2 days before Game of Thrones. I'm going to be in Game of Thrones.
Oh, my God. Get this guy out of here. Now, it's rumored that Dr. Dre had a little less interaction. He was very hands-off when it came to this album because if you guys do remember, Oxnard came out, maybe, was it last year? Yeah, it wasn't too long ago that Oxnard came out, but it wasn't really received very well. It still had that same kind of Anderson .Paak kind of feel, but it just felt like the records weren't hitting that well. And Dr. Dre had his hands in a lot of the songs on that project. So I think that we're getting back to what Anderson .Paak really wants to do, which is why I think he's coming out with this album so soon. And I'm really looking forward to hearing it.
Nice.
Some of the features that he has on his project are Andre 3000, Nate Dogg, rest in peace, Jasmine Sullivan, Smokey Robinson, Brandy, Sunye Elise, and a bunch of other dope-ass artists. I'm really looking forward to hearing this album. And again, it drops on April 12th, and I will be doing a review once it does drop on the podcast. And lastly, probably the most out of left field track that I have on here is a song called Flexible by Darwin. Now, Darwin gained popularity by putting out these very repetitive but catchy songs with hard-hitting dance breaks after his hooks, and he's still following that same kind of formula, even though this song has a bit more of an acoustic vibe. There are guitars and a bunch of like hand percussion instruments in it, but he still has that hard-hitting dance break. Definitely a weird record. Like if you're really used to like hip-hop and R&B, this one's more of like a poppy thing, but I definitely think it's worth listening. So those are my 5 songs that I think are the most listen-worthy. If you guys want an easy way to check out these most listen-worthy tracks from this week or from previous weeks, make sure you guys check out my most listen-worthy playlist available on Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal. Just type in most listen-worthy in the search bar, or you could just go into the link in my bio, check it out right there, or check out one of my other playlists. Show you boys some love.
How to Catch a Vibe.
Definitely How to Catch a Vibe. I love that playlist.
Hey, man, thank y'all for rocking with us, man. Episode 7 of Let It Off Podcast.
Yes.
Always with, Templeton and Simone. And, we happy to talk about hip-hop culture, hot topics, things affecting you, so you can get through your week and let off all the bullshit.
Yes.
See y'all next week.
Later.
Yeah.
Episode 9.